Greg was supposed to be back tomorrow. For today, we have my friend Jim Crotty.
And thank you very much for having me here, David. I really appreciate it.
And Jim braved through this snowstorm that seems to be absolutely bringing Dayton to a halt once again. So watch our video from a couple days ago, reminders on how to drive.
Yeah, it's slow driving, but it's not as bad as if there was ice. It's not too bad. So.
All right, so hopefully you're heading home now, and you're going to sit down and watch this, and with some hot chocolate and a fire going in the fireplace, and all that stuff. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today, and Jim's a professional photographer, very talented one, and he specializes in nature photography, but he does all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought we'd talk about the hidden beauty of Dayton.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so much to appreciate here from a photographer's viewpoint. I think it's just a lot of times people that live in Dayton, that grow up in Dayton, think the most, the great nature landscape photographs, you have to travel out west or somewhere exotic to get those type of shots. But actually most of my best images, and I've been photographing since I was probably 12 years old, and in the 1970s, so it kind of dates me a little there.
You were using real film back in the day.
Yeah, back film in a black and white dark room in the basement of the home where I grew up in Kettering, and that's when the bug really hit me, and then I kind of drifted away from it for a while, then came back to it about 10, 12 years ago, and just been pursuing it because it is my passion, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I love to do. And here in Ohio, and even in Dayton, there's a lot of natural beauty to be found. It just takes a little bit of getting out there and looking for it and letting go of other people's preconceived notions of Dayton being an ugly town and there's no real natural beauty here. There is. It's just
you look out your window and you take these amazing pictures of hummingbirds and butterflies.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just it. That one image I took of these nesting house finches, these baby house finches, at a certain stage after they just hatched. It was just right outside my front door in Kettering when I had a home there, and that image ended up winning an award through the National Wildlife Federation. It was part of an exhibition at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. So I always use that as an example. I say, listen, there's so much to be photographed and discovered right outside your front door, your back door, and really what Dayton's best kept secret, I think, from somebody who loves nature, loves the outdoors, loves photography, is the Five Rivers Metroparks. For a city this size to have a park system so well managed and so easily accessible is just a blessing.
Now you're teaching a course in nature photography through Metroparks too.
Well, I did this summer. The ones I taught through the Metroparks system was over at Weggers Inn Gardens, which is another beautiful place. And
my parents love that place. They discovered it last fall, and they just think it's phenomenal.
It is, and I did a couple sessions this last summer. They were just maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. That was through the Five Rivers. Now the ones that I'm doing on my own are at Cox Arboretum,
which is another Metropark,
right?
Absolutely beautiful place.
And I rent the facility there because the teaching facility there is just almost perfect for the kind of classroom instruction I do for the nature photography sessions. And it's a full day session. The one coming up is January 30th, and I try to limit that to 20 people. I've actually got somewhere around 25 people coming to that because there's so much interest.
And you can shoot when it's snowy out. You just have to make a few adjustments.
Right, and it's just the tips that I always pass along for winter nature photography in this area is you got to keep your hands warm. Even before you get to like those settings in the camera and things like that, because if your hands are frigid cold, you're not going to feel good about going out there and taking shots. So I always use pocket hand warmers and a good pair of gloves that I can still operate the camera functions with. The other important tip is in snow, a camera light meter will measure that as more of a gray. So a lot of people get frustrated with their snow and landscapes because they get the pictures back and the snow just looks a little bit dingy. It's not because it's dingy, it's because the camera light meter, when they do those auto settings, will measure it as like a gray card. The thing to do to compensate for that is to overexpose about 1 to 2 stops, and your snows will be white every time.
There you go. So overexpose when it's all white outside.
Yeah.
So a couple other things. Photography's changed a lot because now anybody can go out and buy a pretty amazing camera, pretty cheap. You don't have to pay for film all the time. You get that instant feedback. Right. Do you think photography is getting better or worse?
It's both.
Politically correct answer.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like that commercial for the ladders where the guy's playing tennis and all of a sudden all those people come down. You had all these different people out trying to play in the game. That's good. It's just that, and that's because the accessibility of these digital cameras, the prices have come way down, the features have gone up. But that's why my workshops are so popular, because
there's a lot more interest.
Right. There's a tremendous amount of interest. There's a lot of images out there. I mean, because of that, and I look at it from look at it from more of a positive standpoint, saying the interest, it allows more people to get involved, where before it was just limited to people that just wanted to invest in the darkroom equipment and things like that. So
I miss my darkroom.
Yeah,
there was a certain thing about watching the picture come up from the developer, and it was
like magic. It was like that smell, the stop bath solution.
I don't necessarily miss the chemicals. They did some pretty nasty things to my skin.
Yeah, and if you didn't get rid of them right away, they'd crystallize.
And back in the old days, we didn't wear all this protective gear that they wear now. I'm really surprised when I go into like Sinclair. I mean, they're wearing rubber gloves and masks and everything. We were sticking our hands in the stop bath and the mixer. And
maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, that might be our problem.
No, there's something nostalgic about it, and it's good to hear that there's still photography courses out there that teach the basic techniques in a darkroom, because I think there's a lot of value to be gained from that. It goes back to teaching photography as a craft. And creating the pictures like that, I think there's you learn that way going to digital. It's easier than starting out in digital and then trying to go into a dark room. So, but the instruction that's required now, I think that a lot of people are craving it. They're getting the cameras, they're buying them from places like Best Buy and online retailers.
You can buy them. I mean, cameras are a dime a dozen.
And to use models out right now, because it's like every year
they keep getting better and
better.
And
so last
Craigslist, you can check that out. But I mean, you can take a really great picture with your camera phone these days.
Well, yeah, the iPhone. Mm-hmm. There's an app that I mentioned it to you, Dave,
Best Camera.
And Best Camera, and now it's considered one of the top apps for photography. And it's really cool because it's got built-in digital adjustments within the app, where you just apply these different adjustments to your iPhone camera image, and it's pretty amazing the quality that can come out of just an iPhone.
And the reason he calls it Best Camera is he says the best camera is the one you have.
Right.
And Jim's always carrying a camera or two, because you never know when that stunning image is going to happen.
And in my car right now, I have my tripod, and that's the other thing. I almost always shoot on a tripod, because it opens up so many more areas creatively.
Now you're giving away your secrets.
No, it's because I love shooting in lower exposures and lower shutter speeds. The cameras, I always have at least an iPhone camera. If not, I have one of my Canon cameras in my car at all times, and because you never know. And it's not so much, and that is another important point, David, is so many people get caught up in the gear. Yeah,
it's not the gear. It's the eye.
The eye and knowing the light. I'm like a worshiper of the light and the light of the seasons.
You get up early in the morning and go out late at night, just as twilight dusk hits, because that's when we get the most dramatic lighting.
Oh, it's. But
we're going to have to wrap this up. So if you want to see some more of Jim's amazing photographs, go to calmphotos.com, CALM photos.com. I'll have a link. And check some of the pictures out, because they are truly inspiring, and a lot of them are right here in Dayton.
Yeah. Thank you very much, David.
Hey, thank you, Jim.
And I'm probably going to be headed out just as soon as we wrap up here. photograph.
Great.